The road to Silver Sticks continues this afternoon from Warrendale, Pennsylvania. It is game 2 of our doubleheader between the 19th ranked Mid-State Mustangs and the 11th ranked North Pittsburgh Wildcats. Welcome back to Ice Arena. I'm Bobby Z for game 2 of this doubleheader. All right, so let's recap game 1 from earlier this morning if you missed it. Mustangs got the first goal in the game, went up 1-0, then gave up 4. Unfortunately, 4 unanswered. Mustangs scored 2 more of their own in the third to cut it to 1. Couldn't get the equalizer. Ended up dropping game 1 of the doubleheader 4-3. Shots on goal in game 1 were 20-14 in favor of North Pittsburgh. Also an injury update to let everybody about. You know about Mason Danchenko and his broken arm. He's out 3 to 4 weeks. Maybe we'll have him back by Silver Sticks coming up Thanksgiving week. We're also down another forward. Shane Avail, unfortunately, has a concussion as a result of the first game. He is out for game 2. So we're down 2 forwards now in terms of this game. Williams had 2 of the 3 Mustang goals in game 1. Piper the other one. So let's get back to the kind of the keys to the game here for game 2. It's almost the same as the first game. We got to generate shots on goal. We did better than we did last weekend against Allegheny. Let's see if we can keep that up. The second game, ozone time. We did a great job generating ozone time in game 1. Created some chances for ourselves, especially as the game wore on in the second and third periods. Neutral zone passing, again, going to be a key. Can we get the puck clean through the neutral zone? Struggled with that in game 1. And we did a great job reducing the number of icing calls. We only got called for icing a couple of times in game 1. Can we keep that trend coming up here in game 2? Let's put the teams side by side and do a comparison for you. Here, the Mid-State Mustangs now 11-6 on the year. North Pittsburgh is 9-4-1. Right, we're scoring about 4 goals a game for the Mustangs. North Pittsburgh about 4.5 goals a game. Again, I tell you about lineup changes, but we're switching the lines constantly. So we'll see what the coaching staff rolls out there here for game 2, especially with the injury updates. And again, special teams for the Mustangs. Penalty kill offering at about 87.7%, 50 of 57 on the year. Power play at about 22.5%. There were only 2 penalties called in game 1. North Pittsburgh cashed in on a power play opportunity to tie the game at 1 in the first period. Mustangs had a power play opportunity later in the game, the third period. But that was it. All right, starting goaltender here in game 2, Cole Patuchny. I'm sure we'll get the call for the Mustangs. He's faced 326 shots. He stopped all but 45 with a single shutout this year. All right. I told you about the 3-headed monster. We'll see if we see the 3-headed monster in this game. I'm talking about Max Piper, Brantley Colgan, and Mason Steer. They've only combined for 45 goals, 25 assists, and that's 70 points in 16 games. We'll see how often we see the 3 of them on the ice. But again, I anticipate some lineup changes here in game 2 with the injuries to both Avail and Danchenko. So we're set to go. Mustangs wearing the home white here for game 2. They were in the road blacks earlier for game 1. So here we go. Game 2 from Barrow. It's going to be Colgan and Harbaugh and Pavlik on the back end. Piper's going to be flanked by Colgan and Corey to get things going here in game 2. All right, so here we go. Tied up on the dot. Won by the Wildcats. Cogley's in for them. That's going to be whistled on an offside. 6 seconds into the first period. So we'll bring it back out of the Mustang zone and drop the puck right across the ice from us here. Cogley and Piper. Won by Piper. Picked up by the Wildcats in their own. They'll skate it back into the half wall behind their zone. That was closed off nicely by the Mustangs there. Flexed out of the zone, back to center. Here comes Thomas. Tried to get by Pavlik, could not. Knocked off his stick. Piper collects the loose for the Mustangs. He'll skate it in, try and create some room for himself. Centering pass, couldn't get it over to Pavlik. Picked off there by the Wildcats, and they'll bring it back to center right off the stick. Here comes Harbaugh. He'll skate with the puck. Tries to find a drop pass here for Piper. Piper got picked off of his stick, and that's going to get whistled. Too many men on the ice. We're going to get a too many men on the ice call. Is this going against North Pittsburgh? Too many men on the ice against the Wildcats will put the Mustangs on an early power play here. Again, the Mustang power play, 14 for 62 on the year, 22.5%. We were 0 for 1 in game 1. Now in the first 10 games of the year, the power play was clipping along at about 28.2%. The last 6 games, down to about 13%. So we'll see if we can get something cooking here. Pavlik wins the draw. Back to Tegan Dotson. She'll send one towards the net. That was deflected away. Battle in the corner here. 45 seconds left on the man advantage for the Mustangs. Trying to get the game's first goal here in game 2 of the doubleheader. Try to centering pass that kind of slipped away. Short-handed chance here as the Wildcats will skate it back into the Mustang zone. Lost an edge. Puck trickles into the corner. Wildcats still controlling. Dug out of the corner there by Pavlik. He'll send it along the wall to Williams.
That's frustrating.
25 left in the man advantage for the Mustangs. Right. Williams skates with the puck. He'll gain center red. He'll gain the blue line and dump it in. Williams goes for a change. Mustangs still control here with 15 left in the man advantage. This is going to be dumped out of the zone and skated all the way back here by the Wildcats. Knocked off their stick and collected by Colgan on the far wall. Picked off there. Steer tries to hem him. He does. Walled him off.
Win that, Miles.
Still battle for the puck. That's going to do it for the power play. Penalty time is over. Team's back to 5-on-5. Corey jumps over Pavlik's stick. He's going to have to chase this one down behind the Mustangs' cage. Zayfoul now for the Mustangs. He sticks his big wide stick out there. Cross-ice pass. This one almost connected with Corey. Just jumped right off his stick. Jammed out there by Steer. Here's Patterson for the Wildcats. And he sneaks one past Patuchny. Innocent shot, beat him on the short side, 1-0 Wildcats. I don't think Patuchny anticipated him shooting that puck. Regardless, it's 1-0 Wildcats. All right, so the Mustangs dig themselves an early hole here. Draw one by the Wildcats. They'll get into the Mustangs' end. Here's Walter. He'll get there first. Tried to send it around the wall. Got deflected off his stick. Geisman picks it up. Now Williams right in front of 3-man scrum. 4-man scrum picked up by the Wildcats. Tried to cross-ice pass. That got deflected. Wildcats are content to dump it right in the Mustang zone.
Go on, hold on to it.
Centering pass. That's skipped wide. Here's going to be another shot out to the point. Held by the line by the Wildcats. Dumped down low. Dotson's going to have to collect this for the Mustangs. She's got Geisman. Skips over Williams' stick. We're going to get a tripping call here. Williams is going to get the gate for tripping. Mustangs are going to be shorthanded. At 8:51 of the first period. So 3:19 gone here in the first period. Williams gets the gate for tripping. Mustangs shorthanded for the next minute. Piper takes this draw, wins it back to Pavlik, who sends it around the boards, but not out. Battle for it on the far half wall by Colgan. Now Piper. He tries to reverse directions, lost an edge. Battle for the puck now. Mustangs can't clear. Got it all the way as the blue line, but couldn't clear. Shot on goal went wide. Here's Pavlik. Skips it ahead to Piper. They'll exit zone. Back comes Cogley and the Wildcats. They'll throw one right towards the net. Patuchny gloves that, and we'll get a stoppage in play. 27 left in the Mustangs penalty kill. 8:18 left here in the first period. 1-0. Wildcats with an early goal. They snuck one short side past Patuchny. Here's Steer to take the draw. He'll win it back. Pavlik reverses direction behind the net. Outlets to Steer, escapes the blue line, and will be retrieved by the Wildcats in the neutral zone. They'll dump it right back in. 10 seconds left in the minor penalty to Williams for tripping. Played behind the bench, centering pass. Finds its way to a Mustang stick, can't escape the zone. Played in the slot, tried to center that one. Deflected away by the Mustangs and gloved by Patuchny. Penalty time is up. Team's back to even strength. And we'll get a stoppage in play and a draw to the left of Patuchny here with 7:49 left in the opening frame. Mustangs trail by 1. Piper and Steer, and it looks like Colgan for the Mustangs. Dotson and Walter on the back end. Jumps past the blue line. Batted out of the air by Piper. Deflects off of Colgan's stick right in front of us. He'll pitchfork it all the way into the North Pittsburgh end. And the Mustangs will get on the forecheck. Here's Steer. Centering pass. That skipped off a Piper's stick. Back to Piper. Jammed out there and deflected away, and back comes North Pittsburgh. They'll skate it into the Mustang end. Walled off there by Dotson. She'll play the puck behind the net. Steer back to the point. Thrown back towards the net. Walters deflects that one away. Now Colgan, he'll pick up the loose puck. Looks for an outlet. Saucer pass up to Piper. He'll send it further along into the Wildcat end. Under 7 minutes to play in the first period. 1-0 Wildcats. Early goal is making the difference here. Here come the Wildcats behind the cage. Try to jam shot. Walters, that deflected off of his skate. Jumped up into the air. Patuchny keeps it out of the goal. Zayfeld defending here for the Mustangs. Back to the point.
Way to move it, Larson.
Sent towards the net and deflected to the far corner. Geisman now for the Mustangs. Bangs off of his stick in the wall.
Nice.
Centering pass. Jumps all the way through the blue paint. Picked up by Cole Zayfeld. He'll exit the zone. Gets it as far as center red. And they'll throw it right back in. Here's Dodson. She'll bang it around the wall. That will escape the zone and go all the way down for an icing call. 6:03 left in the first period. This is going to come all the way back to the right of Patuchny. Mustangs trail 1-0. Shots are 4-1 in favor of the Wildcats. Williams is going to take this defensive zone draw, bang to the wall, thrown right at Patuchny, gloved that away. And this will be jammed out along in the far wall. Center pass here, Patuchny had to be sharp. Nice save by Cole Patuchny there. Another shot on goal that went wide, never made it to the cage. Here's Rabideau, ahead to Williams, kind of behind him. Steered right back into the zone by the Wildcats. Gets around one defender, chips it up and over the net. Played into the far corner. Deflects off of Steer's stick, back to the point. Here's a drive, never made it to the goal. Pinched along the wall, but not out. Played further and exits the zone. Here's Williams in front of us. Pops off of his stick. Now Rabideau bangs for it. Now Williams. He'll send it as far as the Wildcat end. Mustangs will go for a change. Fresh troops on the ice. Back come the Wildcats. They'll gain the zone and throw it right back in. They're going to go for a fire wagon change. That kind of deflected off a Piper stick, picked up in the neutral zone by Colgan. He'll skate in, sends it on net, paddled away by Miller. Back come the Wildcats. This is a 3-on-2 here for the Wildcats. Thrown on goal. Patuchny just kind of shovels that to the far corner. Back to the point, harassed there by Geisman. Centering pass in front. Nice job by Dotson to get her stick on that. Back to Piper. He'll guide this through the neutral zone. He'll gain the Wildcat end, bang it off the wall, and recollect it behind the cage. Dotson holds the line. Picked up by the Wildcats, though. They'll send it through the neutral zone. Harassed there by Walter. Finds its way to Piper's stick. He'll try and jam it into the Wildcat end. Cannot. 2-on-2 back the other way for the North Pittsburgh Wildcats. Centering pass right in front, that went off the post.
Great pass, boys.
And the net off the mooring. So we'll get a stoppage in play. 4:03 left in the first period. A single tally by the Wildcats, the difference, as the Mustangs trail by 1. Here's Williams. Won by the Wildcats, back to the point. Williams loses an edge there. Going to be picked up by Zafel. Tries to go through Williams. Jams it all the way down into the far end, and he'll get on the forecheck here for the Mustangs.
Go, skate it.
Rabideau gives chase. Skated through the neutral zone. No problem for the Wildcats. Shot on goal. Patuchny says no. Played on the far half wall. Sends one behind the net. Nice job by Pavlik in front to deny that centering pass. Back to Zafel. Got caught in his skates and couldn't exit the zone.
Great pass.
Bang back to the wall. Here's Piper now for the Mustangs. He motors through the neutral zone and he'll gain the Mustang or the Wildcat end. Here's a shot on goal. I don't know that goaltender ever saw it. Miller went behind the cage and collected there by the Wildcats. Deflects off a stick. Another shot on goal. Miller had to be sharp there for the Wildcats. Under 3 minutes to play here in the first period. Guided all the way through the Mustang zone. And going to have to be collected by Walter on the far wall. Now Williams, that kind of overskates the puck there. Walter's going to have to go back and collect it. Jam back out to center. Steer gives chase for the Mustangs. Wildcats trying to exit their zone. Can't do it. Here's Dodson. Sends one across the ice to Steer. Jumps off of his stick. Deflects ahead by Williams. Right back into the Mustang zone. Drop pass. Sent right back around the wall behind the Mustang end. Collected by the Wildcats. Clock approaching 2 minutes to go here in the period. That was blocked in front by Williams. Tries to guide it out of the zone. Helped by Steer. Wildcats got to get back on sides here. Harassed by Dodson. Shot coming that was blockered away by Patuchny. To the last 1:50 of first period. Hits a skate right here in front. Holds the blue line for the Wildcats. Centering pass in front. Dodson says no. Back to the blue line. Held there by the Wildcats. They'll dump it into the far corner. Walter sends this one all the way down the ice. Skips off a Wildcat stick. That won't be icing to the last 90 seconds here in the first period. Mustangs down a goal. Harassed there in the neutral zone.
Nice.
Jumps off a stick. Here's Piper with a loose puck. Whacked out there by Rabideau. Collected by the Wildcats. Sent towards the cage. Patuchny was sharp. He closed the post there. Tic-tac-toe play and the Wildcats get another one. They dug it out of the corner. Centered that one. Little tic-tac-toe and it's 2-0. All right, so the hole gets a little deeper here for the Mustangs. Down 2 with 1:08 left in the second period. Williams, Steer, and Zafel. Pavlik and Harbaugh in the back end. Here's Williams off the draw. He'll guide it in, centering pass, nobody home. Zafel overskates it, takes a whack at the loose puck there. Dumps back to the blue line. Can't hold the line there as Harbaugh. Back come the Wildcats. Harassed there by Zafel and Harbaugh. Centering pass, that deflected off of a stick. To the last 40 seconds here in the first period. Guided one back towards the net. Patuchny shoveled that to the back wall. Around the wall we go. Mustangs hemmed in their end here. They need a clear here in the last 22 of the period. Guided back behind the net. Harbaugh battles for it there.
Get in there, Noah.
Now Williams.
Oh, that's nice.
That flecks off a stick. Should wipe off ice. Like stand corrected, it will be icing. Deflected off of a Wildcat stick. Icing should have been waved off. But we'll get the draw here right at Patuchny with 12.7 left in the period. Mustangs down a pair here in the first period. Piper takes this draw. One back to Dodson. She'll bang it off the boards, but not out. Shipped out by Rabideau. Here's Colgan. He's got 4 seconds to try and get there. And Brantley Colgan, as the period expired, cuts the lead in half. And the Mustangs get on the board with a late goal and cut the lead in half. 2-1, end of one. You're watching Mid-State Mustangs hockey. Back with the second period after this.
4 shots, 1 goal. We're playing somehow. What do you think, Keaton?
You know what I'm taking from you? A cold beer on Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio.
All right, back at Barrow Ice Complex here. Game 2 of the doubleheader between the Mustangs and the North Pittsburgh Wildcats. Great individual effort by Brantley Colgan at the end of the period. Trims the lead in half for the Mustangs. Get this on the board. It's 2-1. Let me check in with my crack analytics team to see what they have for the shots. What do you guys have for shots on goal?
4-14 Wildcats.
Okay, 14-4 shots on goal in favor of the Wildcats. Here we go with period number 2. Won by Piper, played by Walter over to the far wall. Jammed out in the neutral zone, picked up by Piper. Walked the shot in front there. He'll recollect the loose change and send it deeper into the zone. Collected by the Wildcats, harassed there in the corner. Deflects off of Williams' stick and back come the Wildcats. Walter defending for the Mustangs. Harassed there by Colgan. Jammed into the wall. Early stages second period, 2-1. Favor of the Wildcats. Here's Piper. He'll send it out all the way as far as center red. Wildcats will have to regroup here. Leatherby dumps it back in for the Wildcats. They'll go for a change. Picked up by the Mustangs. They'll jam it off the wall, but not out. Here come the Wildcats. Skating around a couple of defenders. Try to centering pass. That's blocked out by one of the Mustangs in front. Back to the point. That was blocked here by Rabideau. Still hemmed in our own zone, though. Again, the Mustangs need a clear. Here's Walters. He'll get the clear, and it'll trickle all in front of us here to the Wildcat end. Collected by Leatherby. Mustangs go for a change.
3-on-2, let's go.
They're going to have to hustle here. Walters did a good job closing that defender off. Centering pass. Jumps off the skate of Zafel. Here's a shot towards the net and with the rebound. Back to a 2-goal lead for the Wildcats. 3-1. Piper's going to take this draw. There's Williams. He'll send a rising shot towards the net. Kind of banged off the goaltender's mask. Got a jam shot there on the right side. Finds its way back out of the zone, and here come the Wildcats the other way. They'll gain the Mustang end. Leading in the game 3-1. Centering pass here, right in front. Here comes Piper back the other way for the Mustangs. Digs it all the way around the corner, behind the net. Harbaugh tries to hold the line. He'll send it around the wall and in deep. Steer. Now the Wildcats will gain it. The puck and skate it out of the zone with ease.
Connect on that, though.
Collected by the Mustangs in the neutral zone. Jumps off of Steer's stick.
Nice.
And the Wildcats will dump it right back into the Mustang end.
Whoa.
Shot on goal off the blocker pad at Patuchny. Back to the point.
You got Vaughn.
Collected by the Wildcats there. 9:10 left here in the second period. The deficit 2 for the Mustangs. Skated around the Mustang end, still controlling the puck.
Dude, why are you doing?
Here's a shot towards the net. That jumped off of Pavlik's skate and went to the far corner. Battle for it there, picked up by the Wildcats. Right out in front. That got blocked in front.
Get in front of it.
And the puck squirts back to center red. Picked up by the Wildcats.
Go get it.
Dumped all the way back into the Mustang end. Around the half wall here. Played behind the Mustang end. Centering pass went off the side of the cage. Here's a shot that was blocked in front. That was almost 4-1 Wildcats.
Keep it, Hayden.
Played it back behind the goal, picked up by Geisman. Nice play just to try, picked up at the blue line. Mustangs are hemmed in their own zone again. It's a theme. Off the far wall. Looking for a centering opportunity. Skates past one of the Wildcat sticks. Blocked up here at the blue line. Here comes Rabu. Can't get the puck over to Steer. Right back into the Mustang end. Shot went wide of the cage. Wildcats go for a change. Mustangs still can't clear the zone. Here's Colgan. Right into the slot. Great shot. Great save by Cole Tuxton too. Reached out with that glove save and with that glove and made a nice save to keep this at a 2-goal game. 7:42 left in the second period. 3-1 Wildcats. One back to the point from the Wildcats. Skipped towards Patuchny. They need to be sharp there. Kind of deflected off the face-off, and they just threw it towards the net.
Good shot, Caddy. Really good.
So we'll get another draw to the right of Patuchny. Here's Williams. Sent back behind the Mustangs end. Back to the point. Fumbled there by the Wildcats. Recollected. AFL jams at it. Sent towards the cage. Wide of the net. Battle for it on the half wall. Again, poked at into the Mustangs.
Stop, Caddy.
Hogan knocked off of his skate. Mustangs can't hold the zone. They go right past Zafel and re-enter the Mustangs end. Put one on Patuchny and he makes another nice save. 6:57 and we'll get another stoppage. 3-1 Wildcats lead. Here's Piper to take this draw. It's tied up on the dot, centering pass, and they score. All right, so the deficit now 4 for the Mustangs.
Keep the foot on the gas, boy.
There's Piper on the dot. Squirts over to Steer. He'll gain the zone. Tries to play it deeper. Picked off by the Wildcats. Harbaugh bangs it off the wall in front of us. Dumped right back into the Mustang end. Played along the far half wall.
Good patience.
Mustangs have been playing a lot of defense in this period. Shot on goal. Patuchny had to make a nice save there. Here's Steer with the puck. Bangs it off the wall. This one's going to go all the way down for icing. And the Mustangs will have to come all the way back for this defensive zone draw with 6:20 left in the second. Shots are lopsided. No point in telling you about those. Here's Williams to take a draw for the Mustangs, trailing by 3. Halfway through the second period. Squirts toward Walter. He's run into and knocked down to the ice behind the Mustang cage. Squirts in front. Banged off of one of the sticks and deflected back out into the neutral zone. Hogan gives chase for the Mustangs. He's the lone goal scorer here. Guided through the neutral zone and right back into the Mustang end. Three-man scrum, four-man scrum, poked that, sent all the way back into the Wildcat end. No icing on this one. Hogan gives chase for the Mustangs. Now Williams along the half wall here. Jammed at by a couple of players. Squirts free to the Wildcats. They'll play it behind their own net. Reverse direction. Banged off the wall, collected and guided out of their own end. Skipped off the wall here and played further into the Mustang end. Here's Dodson. She'll deflect that one to the wall. Centering pass right out in front. That shot went wide. And around the half wall here. This centering pass picked up by Williams. Can't clear the zone and guided right back in. Here's Zayfeld, tried to lift the stick, could not. Wildcats still controlling in our end. There's another shot on goal. Patucci makes the save. Back to the point, send one towards the net. That skipped up off of a stick and over to the far corner. Guided back to the blue line, dumped right back in. Around the half wall, behind the cage. First to the puck of the Wildcats. Here's a centering pass, that scores. 4-1 is now 5-1. And the hole gets deeper for the Mustangs here, now trailing by 4. Here's Colgan off the draw for the Mustangs. Ran into here in the offensive zone. Battle for it along the boards. Squirts free to Williams, poked off of his stick. Back come the Wildcats the other way. Centering pass here. That deflected away by one of the Mustangs. Clears the zone. Guided into the zone by Williams here. Looking for an option. Left the puck there, but nobody home for the Mustangs. Skated back through the neutral zone. Finds its way to Pavlik's stick. Tries to hit Piper. Now Giesman. Race for the puck. Piper can't get there. Both players go down. Giesman with the puck for the Mustangs. He'll send one towards the net. Gobbled up by the goaltender Miller, and we'll get a stoppage in play. All right, so this draw in the Wildcat end with 3:37 left in the second period. The deficit is rather large here for the Mustangs. It's 4. Mustangs had trimmed this to 2-1 at the end of the first period, but 3 unanswered goals here in the second. And that's the difference right now as we tick under 3.5 to play in the period. Battle for it on the half wall in the Mustang end. Pinned against the wall, 4-man scrum here. Puck under some skates. Walters digs at it. Finds its way to a Wildcat stick. Here's Steer. He'll kick it out of the zone. Headman pass over to Piper. Jumps off of his stick. He'll send one towards the net. Dodson. Now Walter. Dodson recollects it right in front of us. Gets back into the Mustang end. Collected by Leatherby. He'll just guide into the corner. Walter now. Dump it all the way back to center red. Back come the Wildcats. That was not on Stod. So we get a whistle and a stoppage in play for an offside call. With 2:34 left in the second period. It's been all Wildcats in this second game. Mustangs being badly outshot. Williams will take this draw. Finds its way to Giesman's stick. Now back to Williams. Along the wall. Battle for it right in front of us. Williams will try and dig this out. Jumped right past one of the Mustangs and guided back into our end. Played behind the net, centering pass. Gonna get a penalty call here. Not sure on who. So Zayfeld's going to go off for cross-checking. I think the kid ran into Cole. Cole gets a big kid penalty on that. All right, draw one back to the point. Mustangs short-handed here for the next 55 seconds. Fleck off of Patuchny's glove. We're going to get a whistle now. Net's off the mooring. So they'll reset the net. Still 49 left in the man advantage for the Wildcats on the Zayfeld minor for cross-checking. Here's Steer. They'll take this defensive zone draw, one back to the wall and jam back around the wall behind the Mustang cage. Hogan tried to bang at it here. Couldn't. The zone is guided back into the far corner. 1:40 left in the period. Scrum in front of the net. Tried to reverse directions, could not. Thrown back to the wall here, harassed by Steer. Here's another shot that hit a player in front, never made it to the goal. Thrown back into the far wall. Here's Pavlik. He'll jump one off the wall. This will be directed all the way back into the Wildcat end. And they'll have to regroup with 5 seconds left in the man advantage. There's a backhand try, centering pass, denied. Another try that Patuchny says no. Penalty time is over. Zayfeld's out of the box. Teams are back to 5-on-5 in the last 60 seconds of the second period. Mustangs trail in the game 5-1. Wildcats with the puck in our end. There's another shot. That deflected off of Harbaugh's hand. Hope he's okay. Looks like it stung. Played by the Wildcats, back to the point. Point to point here. They'll set backhand pass that skipped off of a stick and went to the far wall. Centering pass jumped over one of the Wildcat sticks. Another shot towards the net, never made it. Thrown through the neutral zone, but couldn't connect with Piper. And the Wildcats are off sides of the line, and we'll get another whistle and a stoppage in play. All right, so the draw is going to come just outside of the Mustang zone here with 21.9 left. The deficit's 4. One back by the Wildcats, guided back into the Mustang end. Williams is there for the Mustangs, skips off of his stick. Now Dodson, he'll play it on the net, reverse direction. Thrown back the other way, 6 seconds in 5. Shot that went behind the net, 2 seconds in 1. And that's going to do it for the second period. 5-1. Wildcats lead the Mustangs. The end of 2 from Barrow and Warrendale. You're watching Mid-State Mustangs hockey. Back with the third period after this. All right, back here in Warrendale and Barrow Ice Complex for period number 3. This is game 2 of our doubleheader. Mustangs dropped the first game 4-3. Valiant comeback though. They were down 4-1. Battled back to get within 1 in the third period, but couldn't find the equalizer. Here in game 2, a little different story. Mustangs had trailed, had trimmed this to a 1-goal game at the end of 1 on the goal by Brantley Colgan. But 3 unanswered in the second, and the deficit is 4 here as we get set to start the third period. Shots are 24-6 in favor of the Wildcats. See if we can generate some offense here in period 3 and slice into this lead. So here we go. About to start period number 3. Here's Piper, draw one by the Wildcats. Playing in the Mustang zone here, up by 4, sent one towards the net. Steered away by Patuchny. Jams up off of Piper's stick. Loose puck here, skips out of the zone. Wildcats are going to have to get on side. Collected there, overskated by Piper in the neutral zone. Thrown right back to the Mustang end. Here's Harbaugh now. He misfires on that pass. Guides it over to Piper. He'll survey his options and just blast one towards the goaltender Miller. Hogan now on the far wall. And comes right with Finney. Sorry, that was Finn Corey, not Colgan. Guided all the way back in. Wildcats going for a fire wagon change. Here's Pavlik. He'll steer it back out. Along the wall to all right, Mustangs clear it through the neutral zone and dump it all the way back into the Wildcat end. Steer gives chase. He's got help from Williams and Rapidu. Here's Steer with the loose puck. Throws it around the wall behind the net. Williams and Rapidu give chase. Picked up by the Wildcats. And thrown back through the neutral zone here by Dotson. Collected by the Wildcats. They'll jam it all the way back into the Mustang end. 40 seconds into the third period, or minute 40 into the third period, sorry. It's 5-1, Wildcats lead, 3 unanswered goals in the second period. Harassed there by Zafel, centering pass, found its way to one of the Wildcats, but hemmed in there by the Mustangs. Here's Giesman. Sends it back to the point, thrown right back towards Patuchny. Centering pass, deflects off one of the Mustang sticks. Collected by the Wildcats, thrown back towards the goal. Net missed wide. Zafel gives chase on the far side. Backhand try, that missed everything. Here's Williams. Throws it to the blue line. Banged up by Zafel, skipped off of his stick, can't exit the zone. Mustangs hemmed in again here. Backhand try and echoes over Patuchny's glove, and it's 6-1. Five-1 becomes 6-1. With 9:29 left. Here's Piper. Corey and Colgan out there. Back come the Wildcats again. Off this draw. Here's Harbaugh. Banged it through the neutral zone. Corey gives chase on the far side. Can't get there. Picked up by the Wildcats. Swung and missed there by Colgan. Kicked out by Piper. He lost his stick on the play. Here's Pavlik, side swipes a couple of defenders, and he'll guide it into the Wildcat end. Throws one on net. Miller collects it with his glove, and we'll get a stoppage in play. 8:59 left in regulation. 6-1 in favor of the Wildcats. Here's Williams for the Mustangs. Banged out along the wall here. Williams and Steer. Guided out by the Wildcats.
Make it a hattie, buddy.
Back into the Mustang end. Gets around one defender. Little chip shot up at the net that never made it. Back come the Mustangs. Here's Pavlik through the neutral zone. Tried to put a pass off the boards to Steer. He never saw it. Back come the Wildcats. Here's Harbaugh defending. Tried to slip a pass in front. Couldn't connect on that. Here's Williams. Sends one through the neutral zone. Pavlik's going to pick up the loose puck here for the Mustangs. He sends a rising shot. Had to be gloved by the goaltender. Nice job by Pavlik through the neutral zone just to create any kind of offense for the Mustangs, who have been stymied here in this game too. Shots have been minimal at best. Piper to take this draw, trailing in the game 6-1. Walters collects it, sends one towards the net. It was blocked in front, never made it there. Guided back out of the zone. Back come the Wildcats here. Send one towards Patuchny. He gloved that one down. And we'll get another stoppage in play with 8:03 left in regulation. All right, so this draw comes to the left of Patuchny. It'll be taken by Piper. He's got Corey and Colgan. Here's Corey. Jumps up off of his stick. Thrown back to the half wall and going to have to be collected by Dodson. She'll bang it off the wall, hit one of the stanchions. It took a weird bounce. Piper on the far opposite end. He'll pitchfork it out of the zone, collect the loose puck, and then overskates it at center red. Dumped right back in by the Wildcats.
Step up, Brandon.
Loose puck collected here at the blue line. Picked up by the Wildcats. Mustangs can't clear. Thrown right in front. Patuchny had to make a nice save.
Good save, goalie.
And we'll get another stoppage at 7:28. Shots are lopsided in favor of the Wildcats. We know that. Scores lopsided too. Mustangs still battling here. Game 2 is the better. Here's Steer to take this draw. It's won by the Wildcats. Controlled by Williams here. He'll skate it through the neutral zone. Banged off of his stick. He'll gain the line though. Collected by the Wildcats and steered back out of the zone. Harbaugh picks at it in the neutral zone. Jumps off of his stick. Here's a 2-on-1. Oh, nice job defensively by Pavlik. Had a player right in front, but that puck escaped him. And back come the Mustangs. Here's Steer. He'll throw it all the way down behind the net. Pavlik gave chase for the Mustangs. Back come the Wildcats. Puck loose in the neutral zone. Rabideau gives chase Mustangs. He'll collect it in the far end. Deflected off of his stick and collected by Piper. 3, 4, 5-man scrum behind the Mustang end. Reemerges it with the puck as the Wildcats. Oh, that pass never made it. Kind of slipped off his stick. Piper comes back with it for the Mustangs. Gets past one defender. Still with the puck. He's going to have a chance here. Tried to go up high, and that hit the post. Both players run into the cage on the far end. It comes off the moorings, and we'll get a stoppage in play. All right, here comes Steer and Williams and Zafel. Dodson and Walter on the back end for the Mustangs. This draw is going to take place to the left of Miller, the Wildcat goaltender, with 6:12 left in regulation. Steer wins it. Backhand try that went wide of the cage. Battled on the far end. Wildcats steer it around. Harassed here by Zafel behind the net. Wildcats emerge with the puck. They'll go cross ice. Mustangs going to have to back check again here. Walter closed that one off. Now Dodson. Now Walter. Loose puck jammed towards the net. Kind of went high and wide. 5:40 left in regulation. The deficit's 5 for the Mustangs. Here's Dodson behind the net. Now Steer. Skips past the stick of Williams. Finds its way to one of the Mustangs. They throw it all the way back to the blue line. Nice glove save by Cole Patuchny. Nice glove save. We'll get a stoppage in play. That's 5:25. All right, so Piper out there with Corey and Colgan. Puck kind of jumps off his stick, finds it again, tied up on the dot here. Here's Colgan. He'll steer it out of the zone. He's got Piper. And they're going to call that on offsides. Mustangs offsides at the line. Throwing salt in the wound here. So this is going to come back out. 5:13 left in regulation. Mustangs looking for anything positive here in the third period. Trailing by 4. Trailing by 5, I'm sorry. Played by the Wildcats off the wall. Picked up by Colgan. He'll dump it back in. Clocking ahead under 5 minutes here to play in regulation from Barrel Ice Complex in Warrendale. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Wildcats direct this through the neutral zone. Thrown back out by the Mustangs and picked up here by Pavlik. He'll take this one in. He's got Piper. Send it towards the net. That kind of went wide. Never made it to the goaltender. Miller jam shot one time, 2 times. We're going to get some pushing and shoving in front of the net. Pavlik goes down. And we'll get a whistle at 4:35 left in regulation.
Yeah.
Everybody back to their feet here. And this draw is going to come to the left of the Wildcat goaltender with 4:35 left. All right, so here's Williams out there with Giesman and Steer. Walter and Dodson for the Mustangs. Played around the far wall. Banged out by Giesman. Walter couldn't hold the line for the Mustangs. It's going to have to be collected by Dodson. She'll steer it off the glass in front of us. Picked up by the Wildcats, though. They'll play it right back in as the clock nears 4 minutes play in regulation. The deficit 5 for the Mustangs. Sent back to the point. Squirts off his stick. Recollected and thrown back into the deep half wall. Centering past it. Finds Steer's stick, though. Jammed at by the Wildcats. Down into the far half wall here on this side of the ice. Back to the point, thrown towards the net, went right between the legs of Walter. Back to the far point. Again, they'll dump it lower. Walter loses an edge there. Wildcats will content with killing time and just sending it back on goal. Patuchny makes the save, and we'll get another stoppage in play with 3:39 left in regulation. All right, let me check in with my crack analytics team. Shots on goal, guys. What do we got? 33-10 shots on goal. Forget the scoreboard. They're being too generous. All right, this draw won by the Wildcats. Back to the slot. Send it right off the post. And that deflected to the corner. Picked up by the Wildcats. Battle for it there. Jammed along the wall by the Mustangs. This will get out of the zone. Wildcats will have to skate back into their end to collect this. Clock nearing 3 minutes of regulation. 4-3. Wildcats won game 1. It was a great comeback try by the Mustangs, but they came up 1 short. Couldn't find the equalizer. Game 2 has been all Wildcats. Another shot towards the net. Patuchny makes the save there. 3:02 here in the 3rd period. On comes Williams and Steer and Safell. Pavlik and Dodson are going to stay. Pavlik and Harbaugh will stay on, I should say. Here's Williams. Jumps off of his stick back to the point. Thrown back towards the net. Wide. Steer on the far side. Tried to jam at it. Back to a Wildcat stick in the slot. Here's a nice chance. And they score again. It's 7-1. Thrown off the far end here.
Nice.
The clock goes under 2:45 left in regulation. Patuchny made a nice save there for the Mustangs. Thrown back in front, deflected away. Here's Walter. Escapes the blue line. That's going to be caught offside right in front of us here at 2:23. All right, this draw is going to come right in front of us. 7-1 Wildcats ahead here in game 2. Back into the Mustang end. It's played by Dotson in the far end. She tried to bang at it there. Clock approaches 2 minutes to play here.
Here you go, Vaughn.
Thrown back around the wall to the point. That skipped off a stick. Here's Williams. Thrown as far as center red.
What do you have for lunch?
Jammed back in by the Wildcats. The touchdown makes another glove save, and we'll get a whistle at 1-2-3.
Great game, Vaughn.
Here's Piper, tied up on the dot, thrown towards the net, and Patuchny steered that one to the corner. Patuchny's seen a lot of rubber in these games. Mustangs have been outshot in both, badly outshot in this game. Shots were closer 20-14 in game 1. So was the score at 4-3. This one thrown all the way down to the Miller, the Wildcat end. Wildcat goalie, I should say. Bayfell. Now Williams.
Puck's rolling.
To the last 1:15 here in regulation. Wildcats content with killing the clock here. They're up by 6, 7-1. It's been all Wildcats in game 2 here. Here's Harbaugh in front of the net. He's twisted around. Now Pavlik, picked up by Piper. He tried to skate it through the zone. It was deflected off of his stick. Nice job by Pavlik there to pick off the pass. Jumps past Steer's stick. Guided right back to the Mustang line and now thrown back in. To the last 40 of regulation. Nice save by Patuchny there off the blocker pad. Again, another save by Patuchny. Thrown back towards the net. That one didn't make it.
I do not understand that.
Things along the far half wall. This pass goes past Corey. He's going to have to throw it into the Wildcat end to the last 20 of regulation here. Deflects off one of the Mustang players. That was Piper. Guided through the neutral zone. Thrown back towards the Mustang cage. 8 seconds and 7. 6 seconds and 5. Mustangs, I'm sure, will just forget about this game. And that'll do it.
Good game, boys and girls.
All right, so the kids will shake hands. Mustangs drop both games in the doubleheader here in Warrendale today. 4-3 in game 1. Second game got out of hand. I'll go shake hands with the officials. Then come and salute the parents who made the trip from Altoona, Johnstown, State College, here to Warrendale today. All right, final shots in the game were 40-12, I believe.